What is up, guys? I do hope you're well, and welcome to our subscriber stories. If you would like your stories shared, don't forget to post it on r/daddycringe. If you're new here and you enjoy the content, why not consider subscribing, liking, or maybe even joining? We actually have a membership on our channel now. Of course, you don't have to join, but it's always appreciated. I'd first like to thank our first two members, Nerd Queen and Freaky Fireflies. Thank you very, very much. And with this being said, let's get straight into our stories. Much love, guys. Our first story is from Pastel Alexander 101. My boyfriend's mum is a real work of art. Hey Mark, long-time listener and first-time poster. Your videos help me concentrate on my homework and are generally just fun to listen to while all the chores are done. My boyfriend and I are approaching our 2nd year anniversary, and with the quarantine going on, we were lucky that it all happened during the weekend when he comes down to visit, because I honestly think that my boy would have gone insane staying at home for this long with his mother. So onto the real subject of the post. His mum, let's call her Mackenzie, is a real piece of work. I don't know if her behaviour is entitled, but I had to give this post a flair. Maybe someone in the comments can clarify what her behaviour sounds like. She's possibly the worst in-law, don't know what it is called when we're just boyfriends, I've ever had to deal with. But not in a way you would normally expect. She isn't super clingy or a helicopter parent, no, she's just a bad person with a kid. The woman is quite a heavy smoker, and honestly, I normally wouldn't give a shit. Your body, your mistakes, but she smokes indoors with an asthmatic son. Whenever my boyfriend tries to tell her to smoke outside, she yells at him and pretty much tells him to mind his own business, even though they live in the same apartment and he is asthmatic. Their apartment always smells like cigarettes, and I hate going there because that smell gives me migraines. On the subject of heavy smoking, she will gladly spend $60 on a big box of cigarettes, despite knowing that they could use that money for gas or getting my boyfriend's car worked on. It runs, but it has a bunch of problems. She would rather fuel her addiction than buy groceries, and I've had to give my boyfriend some of my own money so that he can get food. I shouldn't have to financially support him, at least not until we move in together. That's her job right now. My boyfriend has to eat in school because that woman will not cook or go grocery shopping unless she sees the fridge empty or her cigarettes ran out. The way she splurges is a problem because they are poor, but she does not care because as long as she has some cash, she can buy her cigarettes, and that's all that matters. The quarantine has done an amazing job of showing how much of a hypocrite she is, and it's just solidifying the fact that my boyfriend wants to dip the second he turns 18. When my boyfriend is at the apartment, she barely pays attention to him and rarely ever cooks or cleans. My boyfriend does all of that. Now that he's been away from home for like 2 weeks, she's constantly messaging him and asking him to call because she misses him. Why don't you appreciate your son more, you bitch? She hasn't worked for 4 years, and not because she's old, but because she's very lazy. She literally survives off child support and whatever unlucky dude she manages to leech onto. The woman is almost a prostitute. It isn't like she gives anything valuable to a relationship unless you like the smell of nicotine to stick to everything you own and have a stepson that won't talk to you because he's seen this story pan out so many times. Or she has to offer her quickies and that "I'm not like other girls" attitude. There are so many more things she has done that I have witnessed, and I will answer any questions about her in the comments. Right now, I have a cutie to cuddle with. Damn, this is awful to hear, especially when she knows he's asthmatic and she's smoking around him. I know some of the older generation don't really understand smoke, they don't link it to asthma and all that sort of stuff, and it's not an excuse in this day and age. I mean, educate yourself. Fucking hell, man. In the end, she's going to be the one that loses out because she's going to lose her son over smoking too much and just being generally lazy towards him. Man, sorry to hear that. Our next story is from Jacquelina the Bunny. My mum tries to resolve an argument between a Richard and a Karen. Storytime, kids. Gather around and hear a tale from the birthplace of Karens and Richards. Walmart. Note, this happened to my mum, not me. We give permission for this to be used. Cast, mum, my mum. Karen, Walmart employee on break. Richard, grumpy old shopper. My mum decided 3 weeks of self-isolating was enough for her and decided to go shopping at Walmart. Now Canada is being very vigilant about social distancing to 6 feet 1.8 meters between faces, and therefore Walmart has tape floors to indicate what way to use the aisles to mitigate traffic. They also have placed signs about social distancing. Enter Richard. He was ignoring all the signs and tape indicators and decided that his shopping was more important than people's personal bubbles. For example, he was reaching over other shoppers and going down the aisles the wrong way. My mum is at the end of the aisle when an off-duty employee, Karen, walks up to Richard and starts berating him about his Richardness, as in full on screaming at him. Now bear in mind my mum is watching all this while in the aisle. Karen said, "How dare you not follow the tape markings? Don't you know that not social distancing will spread the virus and kill us all? How can you be so stupid? Blah blah blah." Richard screaming over screaming Karen, "These tape markings don't mean anything. I have a right to shop here and go down the aisle however I want." Karen replies, "Well, you need to be at least 6 feet away from everyone." Richard says, "Well, you aren't 6 feet away from her," pointing at Mum. At this point, Mum is tired of the screaming and she just wants to get past and finish the shopping, so she decides to activate Mum mode. Mum says, "Hi there, what seems to be the problem?" Both start screaming incoherently at once. My mum says, Now children." She said this mockingly because they were acting like kids. This all seems to be a misunderstanding, and turns to Karen. It seems here that Richard didn't realise what he was doing was incorrect and was offended by how you handled the situation, so why don't you apologise for offending him? Then turns to Richard. "Richard dear, Karen is an employee and was just trying to enforce the new policies to help everyone stay safe. Yes, she handled it poorly, but you were also not following the signs," as she pointed out a sign right by them. At this point they apologise and all is right in Walmart land. Right? Wrong. Neither Richard nor Karen think they did anything wrong and therefore shouldn't have to apologise and start yelling at Mum. Wisely, Mum simply walks away hearing the screaming match from a distance. By the time she finished the rest of her shopping and came back that way to grab the thing she needed in that aisle, they were still screaming. This was a good half an hour later, and by now the whole store was talking about it. Sadly, Mum just left and paid for what she had and didn't find out how it ended. I like to think they're still screaming to this day. Thanks for reading this far. Stay safe and keep your social distancing if you do go out. Richard versus Karen. I love it. I feel sorry for your mum, but I love the way they both turned on her. Oh, good old mum. Well done, mum. And thank you, Jacquelina, for sharing this story. And here is today's comment of the day from the last video. I want to encourage this because I love giving little things back to the community. Got a little bit of Mexican in there. I was going to try it. Mucho amor. Is that right? Thank you very much, Amanda, for being part of this. Much appreciated. From now on, we will be highlighting a comment of the day every video, obviously from the previous video. If you've got something funny, wholesome, or just a great comment to make, place it in the comments below. And then I will pick my favourite comment from that video and place it in the next one. Our next story is from Lazuli73. More pineapple. Well, it's time, Mark. I finally joined your subreddit. You're too bloody charming to resist. You're going to get me blushing. I hope you're happy. Be prepared for many good stories I hope you use in your videos. I'd love to hear my words through your liquid gold voice. It soothes me. Now, gather around, darlings, and let Aunt Lazzie tell you a story. For a little background information, I work at a fast food pizza joint. Think the Hut of Pizza or Father Jonathan's, but better. Nothing glamorous, but until I get a book published, it's just a hobby and I'm very passionate about being able to afford food. Honestly, I love working there though. It's probably the best place I've ever worked for, and that's thanks to all the co-workers and management. The boss really cared about all her employees, more than I ever thought a boss ever would, and really takes people under her wing. This tiny Russian lady is the best thing since sliced bread, and sliced bread is the best thing since Betty White. Due to the whole pandemic thing, naturally business has been really damn slow. As restaurants where you can get takeout are considered essential services, they're still open in my region. Honestly, we're lucky if we even break food after food costs, utilities and wages. This is why I didn't want to piss this arsehole off me. The city where this is located is a rather small city. Now, generally, Canadian cities are quite small by other country standards. I'm pretty sure there are more people in NYC than the entirety of some provinces. Don't quote me on that. The astounding, breathtaking population of the city is barely over 10,000 as of 2019. Naturally, we rely on quite a few regular customers for business. Most of them are very pleasant. They know what they want, are polite, generally normal people with brains that can compute basic logic. You know, a normal human being that understands how ordering food works, but not this one twat of a regular. How do I begin describing him? Think, if you spliced a Karen with a boomer caricature, the kind of person where you take one look at them and you know they have a stick so far up their arsehole that the dentist has to pick splinters out of their tongue. Just a sour, entitled, condescending prick of a gentleman's pickle of a human. He talks down to us, thinks his sun and stars revolve around him as his sparkly sunshine arse, and is generally a twat. Part of me wonders if he even has any friends at all, if he thinks it's okay to act like that to anyone. For the sake of the story, we'll call this Boomer Karen hybrid Baron, and I'll just be Laz. So, as one might guess, he came into the store the other day and I served him. Joy. Lucky me. The way our restaurant is set up, you take their order and build the pizza in front of the customer. They watch and they dictate to you what they want on the pizza. Think of a setup similar to build your own sandwich deli or something. Like with most decent restaurants, with a standard amount we can put on each pizza to keep food costs at a certain percentage. Only so many ounces or slices for deli meat for everything. Sauce, cheese, veggies and fruits. Most reasonable customers don't bat an eye at how much we put on. I assume they realise we have a guideline to follow, and extra/more will be extra. So Baron orders his pizza base and I start building it. In a tone that advertises exactly what he thinks/considers of me. A thick-headed lout too stupid to zip up their own coat, never mind make them a pizza. Whatever, if it gives you that big dick energy, I'll whinge about you on Reddit. Oh, look at that. The pizza that Baron ordered was an XL4 topping. You get one guess to figure out what kind of pizza that is. Like I said, we have a guideline to follow about how much we can put on for each topping. I thought that was simple. If you want a double or extra toppings, you need to pay more, an extra $2 more. A bit on the pricey side, but it's a big pizza, and really the best fast food pizza I've ever had. I start building the pizza, and Baron keeps insisting I put on more and more ham and pineapple. I asked him at one point if he wanted double pineapple, and just his reaction pissed me off. He rolled his eyes, and in a tone that I just wanted to catch and shove back down his gullet, that he just wanted more. Arsehole, I've already given you double the normal amount. You'll make the pizza how I want it, or I'll just take my business elsewhere. I just smile and do what the grouchy old, get off my lawn you kids, bastard wants. I have to, though I wanted to tell him exactly what he threatened, that if he isn't fucking happy, he can in fact take his bloody business elsewhere. But because we really needed the business, I just make the pizza like Baron wanted and slung it out as fast as I could, so he could take his high and mighty ego out of my sight. No sweet justice, he didn't even have to pay extra, just a boomer getting exactly what he wanted. I hate it when a customer can walk away thinking they're right, because you damn well know they're going to do it again and keep acting the way they do. Hopefully next time I serve him, the coronavirus outbreak will be over, lockdown will be lifted and I can play D&D again, and I can make this prick pay double for the pineapple and ham. You got me really hungry for pizza right now. But surely there must come a point like, where if you're giving him double of everything, you ain't making enough profit on the pizza anyway, so you may as well just tell him to piss off, right? Or am I wrong about that? Let me know. Let me know, lads. Let me know. Our next story is from Emotional Damage 4, entitled Aunt Strikes Again. Hi Mark, it's me again. I'm sure you're getting tired of me by now, but I did say I had more stories about Marcus and my aunt. I also have stories about my brother's biological father. We share a mother, but my dad raised him, who is also extremely entitled. If you'd like to hear those as well. So, this is a story from my birthday party when I was turning 8 or 9. The plan was for me and my cousin Gracie to share a birthday party and sleepover, with each of us getting to invite 4 friends. This happened a lot, and we were mistaken as twins on multiple occasions because we looked so much alike, and we always had our birthdays together. We were 2 days apart, it made sense for us to share. We always hated that we had to share our birthday, but we got 2 cakes and double the presents, so we just went along with it. Well, this year our party got flooded out. It had rained for almost a week straight, and the river running through our town flooded the streets. Because of this, our party and sleepover was cancelled. As soon as the roads were clear, we just had a small get together that was family only. And oh, our family functions were always a mess. Our family sang us happy birthday and the cakes were cut. We had 2 cakes in different flavours, so that everyone would have something they liked. I don't know if this is a thing here, but it's customary that the birthday kid gets the first piece of cake. We did this every year for everyone's birthday, so it shouldn't have been a surprise that Gracie and I were getting the first 2 pieces of cake. Marcus took this as a personal offence though, and immediately began crying that he should get the first piece of cake because he was the youngest. This wasn't even true, because as I mentioned in the last story, Gracie's sister Jane was younger than Marcus. My mum and aunt, Gracie's mum, tried to tell Marcus that he would get a piece, but that we got the first piece because it was our birthday. Even when they gave him a piece, he did not calm down because it wasn't the first piece. EA told him that they should give him the first piece of cake because it was only a cake, so why should it matter? And yeah, it doesn't really matter, but it was the principle of the thing. It was our birthday and we wanted the first piece of cake. My mum told EA that Marcus wasn't getting the first piece and that he could have the first piece when it was his birthday, which was 2 weeks later. EA responded by grabbing Gracie and I and shoving our faces into the cakes. Not our pieces of cake, the entire cake. That was a thing we typically did as a joke, but only if it was a single piece, not the entire cake. Gracie and I burst into tears. We now had purple and pink icing covering our faces, in our eyes and up our noses. Both cakes were entirely ruined and only 4 pieces of cake had been cut. We were crying, Marcus was crying, and now our other cousins were beginning to cry when they realised that the cake had just been ruined. Gracie's stepdad and my brother made EA and Marcus leave at this point, because we already had our party cancelled and now our cakes were ruined too. Our mums attempted to clean our faces, but pink and purple icing happens to stain skin pretty bad, so our faces were now tinted with colours. Gracie's mum did go and get us more cake, but they were just generic cakes since they were so last minute. Our birthday was utterly ruined. To top it all off, EA had apparently grabbed some presents of ours at some point, because when we opened presents, I was missing 2 gifts and Gracie was missing 3. Our 8th birthday party isn't one we look back on fondly. God damn, if you was local to me emotional, I would bake you a cake. It'd be a goddamn good cake too. What the hell, man? What is wrong with your aunt? Surely that's verging on assault, man. Pushing young kids' faces into cake forcefully. Oh, and you wonder why that Marcus is like he is. I sort of feel sorry for that dude. I remember you said that Marcus is a bit better than he was, thank God, but what's the aunt like? Gee whiz. Thank you, Emotional, for sharing another one of your stories. Keep them coming, we love the stories. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed these subscriber videos. If you did, throw a like and comment below as it massively helps us out. And if you want your story shared, don't forget to post it on r/daddycringe, and I will be keeping an eye on that subreddit very closely. And again, if you want your comment highlighted, put a creative comment below, wholesome comment, whatever. I love all comments. I read them all and just love you guys being involved in our community. And with that being said, thank you for being here. Much love to you, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Goodbye.